Okay, so Lisa, welcome back to Startup Network, and I'm really glad and I'm so happy that you also agreed to do this interview with me and to record it. Tell me more because we haven't seen each other before. You haven't been, for example, on my battles, unicorn battles. So, starting like judging from your experience, like from the start, how did you enter as a judge at our unicorn battles? When was it? And please share your first emotions, first impressions. How was it?
Yeah, honestly, I was really impressed by the quality of the founders and the quality of the pitches. Obviously, you've done a lot of work to do the deal sourcing and filtering for us, and that makes all the difference, right? We sit in so many of these events, and we can't always say the same about other events that we participate in. So I think one is you make it worth our time, and we are grateful for that. So thank you. And second is it's truly an international audience, not only in terms of the founders that you select for us, but also in terms of the colleagues that we have judging beside us, and having the opportunity to share different perspectives from across the world is also enriching, right? Quite often we have different market perspectives, we have different market demands, we're mapping different white spaces in our respective areas of mandate. And often the questions that our fellow judges ask are reflective of their mandates. And that's always interesting. So yeah, I guess the last thing that I would say is, generally speaking, the outcomes after the battle for the founders are really important. Recently, we had one of our portfolio companies, Naluri, participate in your startup battle and make it through to the finals. And that was really important for them. They were sitting in front of a government waiting for approval on their clinical validation study. And the fact that they were flagged as the best healthcare startup in Asia by your unicorn battle really helped them to get some profile with the government that they were working with. So don't underestimate the value that participation makes.
Thank you, Lisa. It's really, I'll tell you, this is really important feedback, and we are really happy when unicorn battles make such an opportunity for startups. And like honestly, this is like for me as well personally, like really, really great, interesting to listen to such kind of story. Can you tell us as well, maybe apart from this specific startup, which other have you found like one of the most promising, and maybe they have even provided some kind of solution which you haven't seen before, but which struck you? Do you remember some of those?
Yeah, I mean, just yesterday, we participated in one of your startup battles, and it was an agricultural company, an ag tech robotics company out of my hometown in Queensland in Australia.
Uh-huh.
And I have an ag tech company in portfolio, and I just thought, what a beautiful roll up we have here. We could move these two companies together, and 1 + 1 could equal 11. And I, even though they come from my hometown, I had never met them. And thanks to Unicorn Battle, I did. And now we're connected and we're engaging. And I work with the Australian government as their entrepreneur in residence, and we'll look to bring them up here for our AgTech program in the new year. So yeah, it's great to be able to uncover these things that are right before you, but you just didn't uncover them yourself. So once again, thanks for that.
Thank you so much, Lisa. Once again, I'll want to ask you because this is like really important. This is really nice, actually, honestly, to hear that. But still, what really makes you want to come back judging at our unicorn battles? For me, it's like also really personally very interesting, and for the members of our team, of course, as well.
Yeah, well, you have one of my team who is a prolific judge, Peter Hlavnica, and no matter what time of the morning it is, he is signing up, right? And he's in Brazil, America. I mean, the guy is all over the planet according to Unicorn Battle, but of course, he's only living in one jurisdiction, but setting aside the time. So I think, when you're really trying to get differentiation in a market, quite often you might take a company out of one market and put it in another, and it's a bit of mousetrap. But if you truly want to get disruption, you need 10x differentiation. And that's what we're hunting, right? Something with significant barriers to entry. And so I think Peter is an excellent example of someone truly hunting for those 10x differentiators and disruptors, and carving out the time to do so no matter where they exist in the world. So you have our attention and we're investing the time.
Understood. Thank you so much. How do you consider that we should, for example, should have more battles each season, or maybe like more specifically more verticals, again, verticals oriented, or how do you also feel about that?
You know, the challenge is, Maria, there's just so many of these types of events, right? There's so many demo days. We're all part of Plug and Play 500, you know, we can't go to all of them. That's the reality. And we just can't take that much deal flow either. That's another reality. And so we have to pick our battles carefully, and we have to pick our opportunities even more carefully. So I think, you know, once you have a tribe and you've clearly built one, providing diversification according to our mandates is really important for us. So for example, this morning I was on a robotics and AI pitch out of Plug and Play. I don't miss Plug and Play, right? I know the deal flow is great. The quality is strong. Similarly, if you had similar verticals to my mandate, then of course we would be participating more, and other members of our team would carve out time to participate. But most funds don't cover everything, right? They have a specific mandate. They're very focused. They have a certain amount of domain know-how that allows them to add value to a company. So I really think it comes down to the audience that you have, understanding the tribe that you've built, or the tribe that you'd like to build, even more importantly, and curating the verticals according to their mandates. And when someone says they're sector agnostic, they're market agnostic, I don't know, I dispute that. Anyone who does everything for everybody really doesn't have a niche, right? And if you want to compete in a digital economy and you want to be a winner takes all, you have to dominate your niche, unless you own 90% of the market. And who owns 90% of the market? And who has pockets big enough to own 90% of the market? So yeah, I think really understanding our mandates and then dominating that niche is way more important than bringing us more and more domains.
Understood. But in this case, you mentioned that you like, in this case, more specifically AI oriented. Are there like additionally some other industries, or only AI?
No, if you think about my mandate, so we're looking at ag tech, we're looking at space technologies, we're looking at climate resilient technologies, so anything to do with water or renewables or healthcare specific to climate change. We're looking at med tech, right? That's our specific domains, and we focus solely on that. So sure, if you give me ag tech, I'd be really interested to take a look at that. If you give me more med tech, I'd be super excited about that.
Well, actually, before the Unicorn Cup, we are going to have, like, I'm going to have in North America. The only thing we need to think about the time, because as you mentioned, you're in Australia, and we actually are having there like different med tech. Now, I've been asked the health tech, the general is actually the title, but we're going to have like here very specific medical as well. Like I will tell you like this: med ed tech, how it's properly pronounced, startups as well, I think. So in this case, I'll be really glad to have you as well there.
Yeah, super.
If you would find the time, because I understand, especially when you're having such a lot of other events, and as I mentioned previously, because we understand that there are a lot of them, but we want all the time to make our better. So really, our judges, our startups want to come back, and the new startups want to enter, because probably I think you've heard like it's Startup Network does it like since 2011. So we are wanting to do this like with every year better, and this Unicorn Cup Finals for us is really important, and we want to make this a bright event. So generally, how will maybe like your perception, your feeling, what would make it like one of the brightest events, and what do you expect from the Unicorn Cup Finals?
Great question. I think quality of judging participant is important for you, right? Unless we're giving out checks, you know, it's pointless having a whole bunch of judges sitting there if no one is issuing a mandate to deliver funds for our founders, because ultimately at the end of the day, that's why they come and that's how they measure us. So I think one is ensuring that you have people who are actually deploying their capital. That's really important. Ones that have dry powder available is really important for the founders. It's the same side cross-side network effect, right? So one is making sure that we have valuable contribution to deliver to a founder, and of course that we have valuable contributions to deliver to each other. So once again, providing diversity of those. The one thing that we always pick you guys up on is not having enough women on your panels. Every time I post a picture in our PR group for our team, everyone is saying, oh, look, one woman today, or, you know, 2 women today. So let's you and I together do a better job on that. We're part of the Women VC network, and we can bring the whole tribe of more than 3,000 VCs to the table. Let's make sure we have more women at the table.
Leesa, honestly, I totally agree. I'll tell you even more that actually I've been inviting more and more women actually to our panel. The only thing that not always they are like eager, because they specifically, as you mentioned, on the one hand they are more focused on some kind of industry, but at the same time, like I would tell you, like from my perspective, from my background, that men are more like eager to try different, to see different industries. Women in this case are more selective. So in this case, I would be willing to ask from other VCs to invite women, because I think that this women empowering move is also a good thing, and we should definitely see more women at such kind of interesting events. So I would love to have them. So would
it's
you
so
like?
important, Maria. We only make up 9% of the industry, so there's not that many of us. So you really have to make
9%.
sure that we are only 9% of the industry. So you really have to make sure we are present. And in fact, you know, in our Women VC network, we actually have channels for different industry domains. So we have a space channel, for example, we have a health channel, etc. And then we have a deal flow channel where we share deals. I mean, we don't need a man to do a deal these days, right? We can just do it together. So yeah, I mean, next time you have a unicorn battle and you need more women, just let me know and I'll flag it in our channels, and I guarantee you'll have many women participating.
Leesa, that would be awesome. As I mentioned, like one of the things, one of the battles which we're having ahead is actually our unicorn, health tech unicorn battle in North America. So to be honest, I'll be willing to ask you, like right even now, share please this information. I'm interested. How would you what would you tell them while introducing them to unicorn battles? How would you invite them to enter our ecosystem?
Yeah, so I every Friday from 3 to 5, I carve out some of my time to she VCs to teach them how to do better self-promotion, because you know, if they don't put themselves out there, then of course they don't get the opportunities, or they don't find the opportunities. So I think one is to promote the fact that this is a platform for them to build the profile for their fund, number one. Remember, just like women founders only get 2% of the capital, so too do women VCs. So this is an opportunity for them to raise the profile of their fund and attract more funds under management. Number two, it's an opportunity to make a contribution to the ecosystem, because that's part of our role. We don't have founders, we don't have a job. And it's really important that we make a contribution to the ecosystem. Of course, identify great deal flow specific to your mandate, and most importantly, deploy capital, because that's what they're there for.
Thank you, Leesa. Actually, I'm so grateful for such heartwarming words, heartwarming feedback. I really appreciate it. And honestly, as I mentioned, like seriously, now I would be really glad to have you at our next Health Tech Unicorn Battle, which is to take place on the 17th of November. So I think that we should proceed in LinkedIn and talk about this more, but definitely we should discuss it more. Thank you so much.
Sure.